Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Volkswagen Tiger Porsche. It's the Tier 8 German SPG. This one's located on the south spawn of Tundra, and it's under the command of Oxagon of ENJ0Y, and he's sent us in 2 replays featuring this Arty. Game on. Well, it's not a very fast Arty, I'm afraid. It's one of the slowest ones in the game, 35 kilometers an hour, which actually makes placing the turbo on this vehicle quite good. It actually gives it enough power to get it to move along. Now, he's actually opted to use the big gun, the top gun, the 21 centimeter, which is actually capable of 900 alpha, 53 millimeters pen with an 11.4 meters burst radius. You can always tell the 21 centimeter howitzer from the 17, because the 17 has a muzzle brake and the 21 doesn't. That's 3 marks of excellence on the barrel, which of course means that Oxagon is very well acquainted with this Arty, and he's able to get the 3rd mark. Okay, let's see what he can do with it. The hull is basically one of the Tiger hulls that Ferdinand Porsche made in order to get the Tiger contract, but he didn't get the contract because of course ENJ0Y got it instead. Rounds out, looks good. Direct hit on the A phase 1. He stunned 3 enemy tanks there, but the E50 or E50 managed to get rid of his stun very quickly indeed. Yes, Ferdinand Porsche made a bit of a mistake. I mean, he built something, I think it was like 100 hulls for the Tiger contract, thinking he was going to get it, that he was onto a winner. After all, he was the guy who actually came up with the Volkswagen Beetle for Hitler. And, oh, that's a direct hit. We don't know which one got it, but I think it may have been the A phase 1. But unfortunately, he didn't get the design because, of course, what the Waffenproof, Waffenant, I think is the name of the force, what they were after was actually a vehicle powered by an engine, not powered by very resource-hungry engines, electric engines, such as the Porsche was using. They thought that if they were actually reliant on copper resource, which was not in abundance, then that would actually put them in trouble. And I think we've got the same problem today, really, because most of the electric vehicles that people are planning to base all of their transport on are reliant on rare earth materials, which unfortunately are very scarce, and as a consequence electric vehicles are very expensive. They're also not a very good design. You'd be much better off actually using a fuel cell and hydrogen and the tiny little battery that actually provides the power to get those things started. I love it. That's a beautiful hit, that one. The 257 took the most of it, 393, but 143 hit points came off the 50 TP at the same time. And they're not fixing the sun because they can't, because they've used their first aid kit and it's in cooldown. Yes, it doesn't make sense to have electric vehicles when it takes so long to charge them, and most people can't charge them. They can't charge them at home because there's no charging point outside, say, a terraced house or an apartment block. And so they've got this big problem that they're being asked. Oh, beautiful shot. I'm wondering if that was a high roll or if that was a penetrating shot. But the 257 went out the game for 561. Yes, people can't charge their EVs, and so they're reliant on public charging positions, and there's too few of them. Far too few of them. In fact, it doesn't make sense to have public charging points because not all of them are the same. Not all of them are compatible to the cars that are on sale. You would be much better off increasing the number of fuel stations that can actually handle hydrogen, which is then pumped into tanks, and then you can use the hydrogen with a fuel cell to create the electricity you need for an electric vehicle. So that way you still be using electric motors, but all you'd be producing is water, and you still have to crack the hydrogen. You have to get the hydrogen somehow but it's much easier to produce hydrogen because you can use any power station to do that, and then moving the hydrogen, which means that hydrogen can refuel a car in about 10 minutes. It takes almost the same amount of time to refuel a hydrogen car as it does a fossil fuel car. So it doesn't make sense to replace fossil fuel cars with ones that have to sit there as a charging point for an hour or two. Well, enough of my talking about the stupidity of the modern EV vehicles. Going back to the Ferdinand Porsche, yes, they didn't actually use the hulls for the the GW Tiger P, because they actually used the hulls for the Ferdinand, which also was known as the Elefanta. That's what it was used for instead. And from this position, he can get a shot, but he's going to have to change position if he's going to get that turtle up the rear. There's only 3 enemies left. They do still have an Arty, so he's probably in grid square A1. Well, no, he was in grid square A. Actually, he wasn't. He was in grid square A6, but he has been wiped out. Now, this is dangerous because he could get spotted by that turtle if the turtle comes back this direction. And he does have an angle to get a shell near him if he backs up. He's dialing in on the basis that the guy is going to stay there. And he backs up into a shell. Not yet. Wait for it. If he does stun him now would be the time to do it. Rounds out. He does stun him, but he stunned the leopard at the same time, unfortunately. But I think that turtle is going to go down, which means the game's going to be over momentarily. As soon as they finish off the turtle, the leopard went down, I'm afraid. Looks like he might have to fire another shot. Standard reload for this Arty, 44.1. He's got a reload time of 36. Yeah, it looks like he is going to have to fire another round. No, he doesn't have to. The TNH made good. Here's the end of battle results of the first game, and that was an ace tanker game for Oxagon of ENJ0Y in the GW Tiger Porsche. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 14, and he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. His win rate from that one, 4,494, which is super unicum and a little bit more. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in this game because that went to that turtle. He got a cool-headed, high caliber, and a top gun in the game for 5,523 hit points. So the second highest damage was the Lorraine Fort 50 tons with 3,557. And yes, Oxagon got third place with 3,470 hit points of damage and that Confederate. When it came to kills, it was actually the turtle again. 6 kills to him, 3 kills to our E75, and also to the AMX 1390. And 2 kills went to the Lorraine 50 ton, the BZ176. On our team. I'm afraid Oxagon only got the 1 kill in that game. But when it came to base XP, he's in second place because the Leopard prototype managed 1,189. Unfortunately, he did die in that encounter with the turtle and actually gave the turtle the top gun by doing so. But in second place, we've got Oxagon with 1,135. And in third place, the BZ176, 1,047. And the E75 also managed 1,040. And they were the only 4 players who actually managed to get over 1,000 base in the game. So Oxagon got second position when it came to base XP. In fact, he was also in platoon with Spiceman in this game. I didn't mention that. He was in the Scorpion. He only got the 1 kill and 500 hit points before he was taken out. Oxagon fired 8 rounds. Very small number of rounds, but then these are 21 centimeter rounds. And if you fire at the right targets in the right place, you can hit multiple tanks with each round. He actually did get 7 direct hits in the game, 1 penetrating shot. Now, Was that penetrating shot the one that we thought that got a high roll? Yes, it was. The 257. That shot where I thought, oh, that's over the 50% mark, because if it's 900 alpha, then 450 would be the halfway point, and therefore getting 561 is more than the 50%, and so therefore it did sound like it was a penetrating shot, and it was. He also got 18 splashes from 8 shots, so yes, multiple tanks were getting splashed every time he sent a shell into that bunch of enemy tanks. When they all group together like that, it's just a perfect target for Arty, and you can't miss out on something like that. It's like everywhere you fire, you're going to get a hit into that bunch. So yes, very, very target-rich environment. 3,470 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damaged 80 the enemy, killed 1, and did 1,190 hit points of stun off 17 stuns. A lot of stuns. Now, on a premium count, he actually earned a profit of 47,524 credits from that game, and he also took away 3,405 experience points as well. So a good start with an ace tanker on Tundra. I always think the south spawn do actually have an advantage over the north spawn, in that they do have that little target-rich environment. If you get it right and you get the shells in the right spot, then you can generate a lot of damage very, very quickly. Let's have a look at the second replay. The second replay is on the Karelia map, and we're on the southwest spawn, and we're still in the GW Tiger. P. Game on. Well, this one is so slow, it's sometimes a bit of a hindrance to just drive up this slope, because it does get you up here so slowly. And although you can get behind the cover of the bunker, as we found out, the enemy seems to know that this is the safest spot to go straight from the start of the game. So they might try a counter battery if they see the tracer coming out from directly behind the bunker. So it's not the best place to fire from, although it does provide cover. And you can see that Oxagon knows that, because he's actually moving to a different firing position a little further away. Okay, he's ready to go now, and there are enemy tanks coming up onto the horseshoe, which is always a good place to aim at straight away, because you can do tremendous damage to the enemy game if they can't get a tank into a position on that side of the horseshoe. Now, he did see the rescue move away to the north. That's because there's no target spotted on the horseshoe at the moment, so he's actually going for the next nearest tank, and that's the T103 or T103. Direct hit! Wow, that's going to be very, very damaging to the T103, because of course the turret is still fairly thin on armor. The enemy actually did get right down to the bottom of the horseshoe, so they've actually conquered most of the horseshoe area. We do have a couple of tanks nearby at the entrance on the marsh side, though. In fact, looks like their guys have been spotted and are being fired at. We do have a teammate in this game. It's Soul Collector. He's in the Kanonen Jagdpanzer 100. Yes, I think it may be that way around, but anyway. But he's actually down next to the marsh, shooting, I think, at the Type 58. The hit we managed was 280 hit points on the Vipera. You can see the enemy tanks are actually the enemy Arty rather is focusing on our tanks defending, which means that their Arty has to be in a fairly good position, because they've got the Lorraine 15551. The trajectory is not very good, very flat trajectory for the Lorraine, which means that Lorraine has to be, as we see on the mini-map, fairly close to the other side of the South Pass. So if Oxagon can get the right position and that guy gets spotted, then he can take that Lorraine out. I must admit, going to position F0 or E0 in an Arty can really damage anyone on the south spawn or southwest spawn, because the shells just are literally punishing them. Rounds out. Oh, that was good. The Skoda went down for 191. So he's taken the gun out of the game. In fact, he's the only player so far to get a kill on his team. You can see Soul Collector's actually taken up a position to defend the cap area coming down the west side of the map. And that's useful because the enemy do have the northwest corner of the map at the moment. Now we're almost loaded and looks like we're going to go for the Vipera, who has the Corbett Dallas taxi colours. Almost ready to go. Rounds out, looks good. Direct hit, and it stunned both of them. He got 371 off the Vipera. He's now technically a one-shot, so if we can land a shell directly on him, Oxagon will get the kill. Okay, the Type 53, or the 53 TP, is taking a lot of punishment, but he's actually dealing it out as well, and he's been joined by T-34-3. We're getting requests to shoot at both those guys, and Oxagon's responded to say, yep, I'm going to go for the T-34-3 for you. Remember that Vipera's there somewhere. Rounds out. Well, he hit the guys at the front and he splashed both of them. And they both got stunned. The T-34-3 goes down and the 53 TP did give us some stun assist. Oh, and the Vipera's gone down as well. We got stun assist off him as well. So that's useful because although the we did lose a number of tanks on that corner, we did actually clean the or kill the assault force. We've now got a problem because we've got a 56 TP trying to come up the lake area. Oh, that's a good hit. 370, and I just heard the rumble from the enemy Arty, who is trying to focus on our guys. In fact, yes, he just killed our charioteer. So I think actually these guys are spotting for the Lorraine. So he needs to be careful that he doesn't get spotted, because if Oxagon is seen, then they will target him. T-103, that's the guy that we hit. I think he may have been penetrated. We haven't seen any of the business he's been conducting since the start of the game, but he might have been penetrated by that shot. And remember, it's a 900 alpha, so that would have done considerable damage to him. That Type 59 is still around, though. Would be useful to get rid of him. We're loaded. Type 59 is in sight, or was in sight momentarily. He's gone! He's just been killed by our Progetto, so that's good news. The T-103 is in the marsh, and he might be a target that we can hit and kill, because he's a splash kill. He's very, very low on hit points. Oxagon's focusing up on the north to try and help the Skoda. The T-103 comes back into sight again, but he gets taken out by the ELC. So no kill for Oxagon there, but we've now got a 4-tank advantage on the enemy. Now, the question is, where is that SU-130PM? Is he just the other side of that rock, or has he moved position? I think he probably would have fallen back. And if so, he probably would have gone down the gully at B6 and then gone back up onto the cap area to get the height so he can see the enemy tanks coming. Okay, enemy tanks are now in sight, but we've got no shot because they're in the cover of the wall. These tank drivers know where to go in order to keep cover. And unfortunately, we've lost the Skoda T56 on our team. No sign of that SU-130PM yet. The ELC's doing a good job spotting. He's found him. He did go back up onto the heights. Okay, he's just fired one shot in. Rounds out. Long flight climb. And we managed to splash him for 282. And the kill shot came in from our BZ-166. So that's a good shot. That means there's only 4 enemies left. 3 of them are on the west side of the map. The Emil, the Skoda, and in fact the other Emil's over there as well. There's only one that should be up near the cap area. That's the Lorraine. We still haven't found them. We're aiming where the Emil was last seen on that corner. Soul Collector's going in to do a scouting job. He's still got all of his health, but I'm not so sure he's going to keep it for long. Canonian Jagdpanzers don't have a lot of armor. In fact, they're very weak on armor. But it looks like the enemy tanks are now folding. They just lost their Skoda to our Skoda T56. And the Emil, he's gone. So it's just the other Emil now left. They found the Arty in the corner. And he's just been hit by Soul Collector. Now, can we get a shot? Ramps out. Direct hit. 388. Soul Collector tries to get a shot on the Emil. He does. So we're getting stun assist off this. And the ENJ0Y tries to go in for the ram. We're not loaded. And the game is over anyway. And that's it. Here's the end of battle results, and that was another ace tanker for Oxagon in the GW Tiger Porsche. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this one. He managed to get 8, and he also got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. His win ace on this one was 3,544, not as much as the previous game. He actually got 4,494 in that game, but in this one it's still good because it's still Super Unicum standard. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in this game. That went to the Skoda T56 on our team with 3,345 hit points. Wasn't enough to get the high caliber though, I'm afraid. Second place was Soul Collector with 3,323 hit points. And in third place, yes, it's Oxagon with 2,750 hit points, and of course that Confederate. When it came to kills, it was shared between the Skoda T56 and the ISU-152. They both got 4 kills each. 2 kills went to the Progetto 46 on our team and the Lorraine 155-51 on the enemy team. And when it came to Oxagon, he only got the single kill in the game. When it came to base XP, though, he's in second place. The highest scorer was the Skoda T56 with 1,414 base. And we can see Oxagon what 1,152, and they were the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000 base, with Soul Collector coming up third with 918. So he did very well, even though he didn't get the top damage, and of course he didn't get the stun assist that Oxagon managed to get in this game. 9 shots fired, 6 direct hits, none of them were penetrating shots, but he did get 13 splash. Damage of 2,750, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damage 9 of the enemy, kill 1, did 354 hit points of damage assistance, and 2,187 hit points of stun assist off 12 stuns. He actually ended up with a small loss on this game, 2,437 credits, but that was down to the fact that he had to auto supply consumables, and they cost him 40,000. He got 25 bonds out of that game, and he also got 1,728 experience points. So 2 very good games in the GW Tiger Porsche. They were both played on the 23rd of August. So yes, that was a couple of days ago. But yes, they were very good games. This is a difficult Arty to play. So if you can actually play it well, then that is an advantage because it's so slow. It's very vulnerable to enemy fire. And of course, some players do opt to use the 17cm stock gun because they do get more shots that way because it's got a quicker reload. But obviously, if you want to get big damage on the enemy, then you have to use the big gun. The only drawback with that, of course, is you don't get a whole lot of ammunition. You only get 15 rounds of ammunition to play with, and that can really crimp your style if you're trying to get the maximum damage and RNG is not playing ball with you. I hope you enjoyed both of those replays. If you did, please give our video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.